Dave, since Jeffrey Condyle tipped us before the show began, we should probably give him a shout out before the show begins.
Okay.
Makes sense, right? $5 tip from Jeffrey Condyle. I'm swiping my hands and all sorts of stuff that they can't see. What's going on?
They know what it looks like.
Yeah,
Brian,
seen it before.
Since AJ's not here today, I got to talk my shit.
Okay.
I had a dream. You wake up in the middle of a dream and you remember it, just because you were mid-dream. Otherwise, you wouldn't. It was about. So I was watching a movie that was a musical about video games, where the characters in the musical were like Nathan Drake and like people, but they were like singing songs about the video games they were in. And I woke up and I thought to myself, that is so stupid. I can't believe no one's done it yet. That is such a terrible idea. I can't believe some studio exec didn't fucking make it yet.
Yeah, I love it.
And it might happen at some point, though. Anyways, you want to get this? You want to get the show started?
Yeah, let's start the show. This is PSVR GamesCast Live. We film live every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern. If you want to watch it live, well, you found us. You're in the right place.
Hey, pop quiz, hotshot. Which of those days is it today? Do you know?
I do. Monday, and I only know because yesterday I was working on PSVR this week all day, and it's without Parole is the only reason I know my days of the week. David, my name's Brian Powell from this channel right here, PSVR without Parole, and of course the guy to my right, Dave from Dave Station, the VR.
Good one. That had some soul to it, a little bit of melody. I liked it. Yeah, you can.
Yeah, I got my coffee, dude. I got a jug from Amazon, right? So I make coffee and I just throw it right into the jug and I throw it.
And you just drink straight out of the jug.
Oh no, that'd be messy. Yeah, I'm not skilled enough. I'm not suave enough. Okay. I just drip everywhere.
But you could have a long curly straw, one of those crazy straws, and just keep it.
Well, the worst thing about iced coffee is the ice, right? It's like it waters it down, and so this way it's like ice cold, and I don't have to water it down, man. Like I'm very, very happy. It's simple adult things that you would think that. Yeah. It took me 40 years.
Are you cold brewing?
No, but because again,
you should cold brew. I know. Well, that shit is really strong though. You'd go off the rails.
Probably. I'm okay with that. Stronger the better. Stronger the better is great, but it's a time thing, right? It's like, I got to set it up and do it. Like
it takes like 24 hours.
To remember to brew a coffee at night and then let it sit out long enough to like allow it to sit into it, get it poured. You would think it's like the most complicated thing in the world. Shout out to Emily Baxter, hashtag the Game Kitten with a $2 tip. Says honor and duty was fun. Hi, boys and cats. Wait. Boys and cats. Does that mean like, growing up, do you always think that like dogs were boys and cats were girls?
I guess. Maybe. I mean, Carlos is definitely not a girl.
Tornado's definitely a girl. I mean, like, all the stereotypes ring true, which is great. We needed a little bit of a feminine touch in this department. Big time. Yeah. As you saw in the thumbnail and in the title of the video, we're going to be talking about Moss today, which, as Vargelsoft already pointed out, AJ hates Moss. He hates Quill. He despises it. He thinks the whole series is just fucking rubbish. And he
made up some bullshit excuse today to get out of this show.
Yeah.
And I can see right through that, AJ.
We all see right through it. Every time we talk about Moss, AJ's like, I'm out of here. So you heard it here from us. AJ hates Quill.
Although I will say maybe he just doesn't want to be in the room again when you say tiny mouse dicks.
It's fair.
That could be part of it.
Dude, I don't even want to be in the room when I say that shit.
Well, let's not do it then.
All right. Dude, we should probably start today's show. A little bit of housekeeping. Make sure you join our Discord. The link for that's in the description below. That's where this conversations like it happen 24/7. You can also join us for Box VR every single night of every single day of every single week and month and year. It's been ongoing. Yesterday made 1 month since we started. I've done it every single day. It's a lot of fun. It's buggy as hell, but at least we get in shape. Also, that's where we do some multiplayer meetups. Professor Lilith organized the Honor and Duty meetup yesterday, thank you very much, Professor Lilith. We love you for that. And of course, Donnie's doing the question of the day over there, a reason to stop in every single day. Also, Jay Meow has us up and running on Spotify and all sorts of podcast services of your choice. So make sure you go check that out as well.
Shout out to everybody who's actually listening to us on Spotify right now. Welcome to the Vanguard. Welcome to the Vanguard. You are in a very rare breed of folks. So
in a class
tell your friends. Tell your friends.
So, Dave.
So, Brian. Without AJ here, this is not going to be as structured as usual, guys, probably.
No, absolutely.
Because he's our backbone. You guys know AJ is our backbone. He's the guy who's like, next news story.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
What's our first news story?
First news story comes to us from all sorts of developers behind the scenes, speaking all quietly and stuff, saying, hey, guys, there's a PSVR2 Dev Summit tomorrow. Now, we reported on this like a couple weeks back when the news first broke. We don't know what's going to happen at this Dev Summit. It's obviously just it's an online thing, and it seems like there are developers from top to bottom being associated with this thing. So my question for you, Dave, is if you were Sony and you got all these developers in one place and you're talking purely about PlayStation VR 2, what do you want? What would you impart on all these developers? What would you want them to know?
I mean, I guess it's also going to be a two-way street, though. Like, Developer Summit isn't just for Sony to tell devs what to do. I think they're going to take pitches. I think they're going to say, hey, you've done this in the past. What do you think would make a good PSVR 2 game? What are you guys working on? What kind of ideas do you have for something that could be unique and beneficial to our platform? You know what I mean? I think that's going to be a big part of it, just like the back and forth with the devs. Because, like, Sony could just send out an email telling people what they want. If that's the thing. I think there's going to be some back and forth. But yeah, I mean, I guess maybe Sony will also just kind of lay out what the guidelines, what the functionality is. Like, you can expect to be able to use haptic feedback on your face, so think about that. Just sort of like set expectations with the developers and stuff too. So, What do you think? You know more about this than I do because you get the whispers in your ear. So.
I know nothing, and I'm going to keep it that way. No, first of all, I definitely don't want to get anyone in trouble, first and foremost. But second of all, I would like to think that this is the beginning of Sony's big push for PSVR 2, because a while back they said, hey, dev kits are going out, but then very frequently we hear we haven't gotten a dev kit. No, we haven't gotten one. No, we haven't gotten one. It's like all over the place. So you figure when they said that, they meant first party, right? And so now it's like, okay, now here's our push for third party. Here's our push to make sure that the launch of PSVR 2 is going to be solid, and it's not just going to be like one or two first party titles or things that we paid for, blah blah blah, with second party studios. So I would like to think this is a time for developers to start figuring out if their current project is going to be able to make that PSVR 2 launch window, or if it's even suitable for PlayStation VR 2, if it's something that they want to do. And I really hope that they get aggressive. I remember back on the PlayStation 1 lifecycle, near the end of the PlayStation 1, Sony dropped there was always like this fee that publishers had to pay Sony to have their game on PlayStation, right? It's always been the case. That's how PlayStation makes money. That's how Xbox makes money. We all know this. And near the end of the PlayStation 1 lifecycle, Sony dropped that dramatically. And that's when you started seeing $10 games like Martian Gothic and like all the Grudge Warriors, like all these like $10 games started coming out. So you could tell the fee got dropped dramatically. And it would be nice to see Sony like really, really want to push forward and say, hey, we want all of you guys on board. So we're going to take a smaller cut of your PlayStation VR 2 titles, if you want to get in there for the first year or something like that. Just an incentive to get developers on board. And say, hey, don't worry about that Quest thing over there. Come focus on this over here.
Yeah. Well, one thing that, I mean, I don't know if this will have anything to do with the summit or if they'll be there or what. Maybe but can't say anything. I would love to know that Housemarque was a part of this, because Housemarque launches platforms. They had Resogun, they have Returnal. Why not a PSVR 2 game? And as I've said in the past a million times, there was rumors they were working on a version of Nex Machina for VR.
Right.
If that could still happen, maybe that would be fun, or just a brand new Housemarque game. Sony owns them now, right? So like, it would be kind of be a no-brainer. They are kind of the ones who lately have had like a near launch title that is supposed to be one of the big ones. So yeah, I would love to see that as well.
Yeah, that would be very cool. Hopefully White Moon Dreams will be there, because obviously those guys, they were the ones responsible for porting Saints and Sinners over, like constantly one of the best, highly regarded PlayStation VR 1 games that we've talked about over the last, one of the highest we've talked about, highest regarded ones that we've talked about for a long time, even whatever. You know what? Getting all caught up in my own words. We should move
It's
on.
weird. It's like if AJ's not here, you lose the ability to speak in sentences. He's that integral. He's the glue, guys. Brian's brain just melts when AJ leaves.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Right.
So next news story is about a little game called Everslaught, which is out on Steam in early access right now. And they confirmed on Twitter that they are they're planning to bring it to PlayStation VR. This looks cool as hell. Guys, if you want to, I mean, Brian, you probably got a trailer playing right now.
I do indeed.
But grappling hooks, slicey, roguelike dungeon crawler. Are you excited? I'm kind of excited.
Yeah, it always sucks when a game is out. I think this is in early access currently right now, so we don't know the full extent of like what this game is going to be or what it's capable of. But I mean, based on this trailer and based on the initial reviews, everything seems extremely positive. This is the kind of stuff, like this reminds me of, and I hope everyone braces for impact before I say this. This reminds me of DWVR, but the game that we wanted it to be.
Right? I actually had to double check it wasn't the same devs as DWVR because I could see that dev making a leap like this, because it does have a similar vibe to it. I got that same exact vibe, but I don't think it's the same guy.
I don't think so either. But the fact is, like, when we talk about Fract, we're like, how come this is like the first really great made for VR first person shooter that kind of gets everything right? And so it's really weird to see this is like, this is the game that we hope DWVR would be. This might be the game that we hope Doom VFR would be, how we play with two move controllers.
Fast pace. Yeah, and just flying around and doing all kinds of cool stuff. Yeah, it looks intense, very hellish, like you're saying. But I don't know, the roguelike aspect of it, of course, is a big part as well. Like, we don't have that many dungeon crawlers that are built like this in VR. Like, Until You Fall is a combat-oriented roguelike, but it's not really a dungeon crawler. You kind of just go linear through the thing and just, do whatever. Yeah. This is kind of a concept and a genre that I'm into, typically. So, I don't know, I'm excited.
I'm excited too, and I'm looking through the Steam page right now, and some of the things it's pointing out here, saying it's got innovative VR controls, flip your arm to rapidly switch back and forth between weapons and your tools. For example, shotgun and grappling hook. Yes, it feels as cool as it looks and sounds. Fast-paced gameplay is tailored toward hardcore VR players. Bring on the swiftest, least restrictive movement in combat you've ever seen in VR. Warning. Play this one only if you don't feel like puking every time you take steps in VR.
Well, there's the two reviews they have on there, the little blurbs on the page are exactly like that. And you guys will be happy to hear this. I think everybody loves hearing shit like this. Built with intense locomotion for players with iron stomachs, says Road to VR. And VR Focus says it is going to be very fast and unrelenting. So, but that's exciting. I mean, it's like, when you get a Sirento, you're like, yeah, give me more Sirentos. Like, I want to do backflips. I want to fucking go fast. Like, let me do it.
I think the Sirento comparisons continue, actually. It's the next bullet point says, an RPG made for VR. It says, discover rare loot, level up your character, distribute skill points, unlock nifty perks, and find hidden lore, all in glorious VR. And this is, like, I mean, like, I don't expect it to be a super crazy deep game. I expect it to be a pretty shallow game with deep mechanics like Sirento was. Like, Sirento technically was a very shallow game, but it had all these deep mechanics that, like, made you keep going back in doing the same thing over and over to replay and unlock these new weapons. And I feel like this could be something very similar to that.
Well, it's funny. You mentioned Doom. One of the top reviews on here says the feeling of Doom Eternal in VR. Fast, tough, and makes you feel like the Doom Slayer. Like, so yeah, that's excellent.
Fantastic. Yeah, and honestly, with if this guy hasn't made any other PSVR games, which it seems like he hasn't, he may be saying, looking at PSVR and saying what makes the most sense, PSVR 1 or PSVR 2. So as great as this would be on PSVR 1, we know as PSVR gamers that there's control schemes out there that would accommodate for this. The Sirento, just copy and paste the Sirento control scheme, it'll be great. But also, smaller developers have a harder time working with the PSVR 1 hardware, getting things to run on the OG PS4. And so this could technically be one of those games that we were just talking about, for the Dev Summit. Does this make sense as a PSVR 2 launch title? I think for new VR gamers, it makes way more sense. Getting your head around those control schemes is so daunting sometimes for new gamers.
Oh, for sure. And every game has its own little, idea of what that's supposed to be like. And it's confusing because you can't play the same control scheme from one game to the next. So it's hard to get your brain around it.
Right.
One review I want to call out. This is kind of funny to me. This guy says, mixed feelings here. So not everybody's totally in love. But he says, would I recommend it to my friends? No. Would I recommend it to random dudes in Walmart? Sure. Now I have to wonder about this guy. Is he just hanging around Walmart recommending VR games to random dudes?
I've met
How
this
often
guy.
is he? You know this guy. Is he in Walmart? Is he in your Walmart?
I mean,
randomly just hanging around?
Have you ever been to like a GameStop or a Walmart or something where you can't even look at a row of games without somebody being like, "Have you played that one?" And you're like, "Yes."
Yeah,
How
but
about
I mean,
that?
like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird to say like I wouldn't tell my friends to buy it, but I'd tell a random dude in Walmart to buy it. That's kind of a weird concept to me. Anyways, this guy, I guess you know him. That's cool. Small world.
Yeah, I think we all know this guy a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. All right, man. So you're AJ today. What's our next news story?
Oh God, am I? Our next news story is we changed the run of show.
We did change it in the
We
next news
changed the-
story.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll wait.
So-
But we're going to talk about Neon Hat, but we're going to wait for AJ to get back. AJ actually completed it all in one run, and we're going to give Dave some more time to play it, and I'm going to get my review out between now and Wednesday. So we're going to talk more about Neon Hat on Wednesday, but in the meantime, I did want to give usher in a little bit of a warning here about a game that came out on the PlayStation Store in most territories yesterday. It's called like 23 to 5, 23 seconds to 5. It's also called Jump and Run VR. The game doesn't know what it wants to be called.
Jump and Run VR.
Yeah.
God, that's worse than Space Explorer.
Yeah, I'll be
That's
honest with
just
you.
like
It's not terribly good at jumping or running, which is the
God.
worst part about it. So what you're seeing here is actually the tutorial. So if anyone has played it, you'll know that like the levels do get different than this. I don't want to say better because they're not better. I feel like everything after the tutorial gets worse. It's like you're playing in Egypt and now you're playing here and now you're playing there, and it's just like the worst crappy graphics. Somebody told me that this was made by the same people as Miniwood. And
no.
I didn't check that out. I didn't fact check it, but honestly, I don't care because
God.
it doesn't surprise me.
Manywood is, guys, if you don't know,
Oof.
one of the strangest fucking things in the world. It's way too expensive. You can't even figure out what the game is at first, and then you're like, is it just a weird Pac-Man game?
It's pretty terrible.
And then you're like, I guess with a meta game that doesn't make sense. It's very fucking strange. It's like a school project that for some reason is on sale. I don't know what the deal is with that. So if it's the same guy, yeah, avoid this with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, so it's, the fact is endless runners I don't feel like have to be terribly good to be fun. Like it's endless runners,
that's
man,
true, yeah.
right? And so I was like, okay, this might look terrible, but I'll give it a shot. It was I think $16 or $18 Australian, so it'd probably be like $10 here in the States. I didn't even check the PlayStation Store today if it came out because I don't care really. The fact is it's like many endless runners, you're in 3 lanes of traffic, right? You can like only switch between these 3 lanes, which right away, I'll tell you, the Deadland VR, not a great game, but for $6 was way better. Like sent you down a path, but you could kind of like, swerve and strafe as much as you wanted to. So you had a lot more control over your character. This doesn't even feel good switching from lane to lane. Jumping is really strange because instead of having like a smooth jump animation or smooth jump camera motion, it immediately goes high and then falls down. So
Weird. So it's just like a boom. Ooh.
It's like click jumping. Click jumping is terrible. It feels
weird.
bad. And like
There's
it's just
no acceleration to it. It's just full
Yeah.
on, and then you float down.
kind of, yeah. It's
Bad news.
Yeah, it floats down more more realistically than you think, but the whole jump, it's like click jumping doesn't make any sense to me. I get that they want it to be like reactive and fast and stuff, but man, everything about this, I don't like the music is awful, the controls are terrible, everything about this is just don't buy it. I found myself frustrated. I got through the first few levels and I'm like, just
Nah,
don't.
dude. Nihilist Ryan has nailed it. He says this looks like it was made by a guy who was fired from the Vertigo Home team.
The assets remind me of Vertigo Home because they just kind of took everything and like threw it into levels. But like,
Yeah.
at least Vertigo Home was like crazy and intense and psychedelic and over the top.
That's why he got fired from the team. That's the joke.
Right.
That's why I like that comment.
I want to give a shout out to Marc Findlay with the Australian $100 tip. Says, "Hey Brian and Dave, it's PSVR's birthday and mine later this week." This
Month.
birthday thing. Sorry, later this month. Sorry, Mark. Thanks heaps Discovering your channels in Discord has been a godsend. I've had more fun in the last 6 months with VR than ever. Game on, Wild Hour the Game Cat. Now,
Hell
Mark,
yeah! Thank you so much, man.
I love your name. Wild Hour the Game Cat's fantastic, right? But here, yeah, we're scheming. We're like, Mark, we need to see Wild Hour the Game Cat in your name on YouTube so that we can give you a shout out on Friday's show. But dude, thank you so much.
He's already done enough.
Oh, he's done more than enough. That's for sure.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it, Mark. Appreciate you keeping the lights on around here. Thank you very much, and we love having you as part of the community. So yeah, don't buy this game. Just don't. Like, I mean, there's nothing good about this whatsoever. It is terrible. Go buy Deadland VR. Deadland VR is broken and busted.
Oh, don't tell people to go buy it.
Listen, I had 6 hours of fun with a broken game with Deadland VR, and it's $6, right? It's zombies, and you get multiple weapons, and listen, it's a bad game, but it's way more fun than this, and it's way cheaper. That's it.
For some reason, there's a bunch of War Garble making this in Dreams jokes. Justin Cassidy says War Garble made a self-generating game engine in Dreams, and this is the first attempt.
If War Garble made this in Dreams, it would have been amazing.
I can't, man. When people can start releasing games outside of Dreams, like, you know, they said they teased that we let you do that or whatever. I will buy some War Garble games if I see Whiplash full release version for $10, $15, $20. I'm shit.
Hell yeah,
I'll buy that.
All right. Well, dude, our next news story. What's up?
I've actually got a tiny news story to slip in between here that I just forgot about.
Slip it in, baby.
The chat reminded me. They say, can't wait for Republique Anniversary Edition. Funny enough, it's still available on limited run games. They made 875 copies of this thing, and I still get emails every other week saying, guys, we still got copies of this. And like, I've never seen this happen with limited run games. Like, it sucks that the demand is that low. Like,
just to give you an idea, Super Meat Boy went on sale, and they had 1,000 copies for the normal version and the collector's edition. This is the Vita one. I only care about the Vita stuff. This was, by the way, the last Vita game, so it's quite literally the last thing I'm ever going to buy from limited run games, because that's all I was sticking around for, was just until they were done selling Vita games. So the Super Meat Boy normal and Super Meat Boy collectors, each one had 1,000 copies available. But for reference, both of those sold out in seconds. Not minutes, seconds. And like, to the point where, like, I know people, like, I know Frosty was trying to get one, he couldn't. Like, we wait in there, refreshing the page and shit, still couldn't get one. So just to give you an idea of how fast shit sells on limited run sometimes, and just how poorly Republic Collector's Edition sold.
There.
Like, that is
been sitting there.
That is like magical, man. Like, I've never seen anything like that. So
if you want a cool PSVR collector's edition of a game, it's still there for you if you're interested. I've got one purchased, I suppose. So
I bought one. Now I'm like really kind of
I'm
not regretting it, but I did like the idea that like it was going to be sought after. You know, that's why you buy limited run stuff.
Yeah. Well, when I heard they were only first, it was 600 something, and then they upped it to 800 something, which they probably sounds like they didn't need to do.
No,
didn't need to do that.
Yeah.
So what is the legitimate next news story, Brian?
Our legitimate next news story comes to us from Road to VR, which we talked to Polyarch a little bit about their mascot platformer puzzler, Moss Book 2, that's coming to PlayStation VR. Sounds like later this year.
And exclusive up front, which is cool to know.
Let's talk about that.
They did specify that a few times. They said, will this be exclusive? Yes, it will, for a time. Yeah. Which is what we saw the first time around. And I thought they're going to try and put this on Quest like as early as possible. But apparently Sony has a pretty strong relationship with them to be able to say, no, hold off on that. Let's make it exclusive for a while, which is always good for us. I'm excited about that.
I mean, the way we talked about this originally, I was saying there's absolutely no way that it's going to be PSVR exclusive for any amount of time. And so right up front, I was totally wrong about that. And I am shocked about that, because it is like kind of ubiquitous with Quest and it's just a VR game now. It has no ties to PlayStation VR specifically. And so I really, really thought that we were going to see it across all platforms. But when we were just talking about exclusives on our last show, I believe, I was saying that I like when teams get a chance to focus on one headset at a time and really make it the best they can, and then, you know, either bring it up to the next headset's power or bring it down depending on what they have to do.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad that this is happening for that reason alone. But you've got to wonder if this is some kind of carryover in a contract that Polyarc made with PlayStation back before
Oh,
Moss came out.
maybe so. Yeah,
Right?
it could have been like all subsequent chapters within this time frame will be exclusive for this amount of time.
Yeah.
And like I think a lot of people did expect it to come out sooner, if I'm being honest. I think like when you have a game that's set up in that sort of way where it's like you call it a chapter or a book or something where it's like, okay, what's the next chapter? What's the next book?
Right.
You don't just like release a Harry Potter book and then just like wait forever to put out a second one. You capitalize on that shit. So I'm glad it's coming soon, but I was expecting to see it like already almost.
Yeah.
But it's good they're taking more time on it. They're expanding it. It sounds like from the article, shooting for a little bit more depth, variety, weapon upgrades, new environments and stuff like that. And it sounds like it'll be longer than the first one, which is good because that was a great experience, but like movie length ish, and not super replayable.
Yeah, I mean, it was nice they added the Twilight Garden DLC. That really helped things out, give people a reason to go back to it. But at the same time, like I got to be honest, like I thought it was great, but I also thought it was too little, too late. I felt like Twilight Garden was great for people who were just jumping into Moss for the first time and found that additional stuff organically and didn't even realize that it wasn't there before. It really worked well within the structure of the game. I didn't really enjoy going back in and like being like, okay, let's go look for the DLC, specifically.
Yeah, that's is kind of a tough spot to be in because like I do like how, like you said, or organically, it's like part of the game now, where it's almost like they just made the base game expanded, and it's like an expanded edition. But if you have played it, it's not enough to make you want to go back through and be like, okay, what do I have to do to get this new thing or whatever? And it's like sometimes DLC, you just want to pop it on and play the DLC because you've already beat the regular game. And that's usually how DLC is structured. So it's unique, but it's also maybe, more for new players than it is for existing players.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this, and this is, I know we could definitely have an entire discussion about this one thing specifically, but
Sure.
When I look over on like HLTB.com to see how long most people took to get through Moss, it looks like the average runtime is about 4.5 hours. And so,
I guess, does that include the DLC?
I mean, I think that's how long it took me before the DLC, honestly.
Okay.
So my
maybe
question
I'm underestimating. I guess maybe I'm underestimating how long it took.
Well, so my question,
2 movies, or one Irishman.
It was a $30 game though, right? And I think does the price obviously should have something to do with it, but do you think? I mean, I don't like if they're talking about making it a longer game. Do you think that they're going to say, well, people complained that it was too short. The first one was too short, maybe for the price tag that we attach to it, because people still complain about games that are like 4 hours long, even when they're $20. So I think people just want longer games, and like the price is secondary, right?
I think so, but also there was something about Moss that I think let people overlook that fact because the quality level was so high and it was so like magical and just like well done that you kind of just like don't care because it was a really good 4 hours that you spent with it. But I think that they ought to keep the price point the same as for Chapter 1, even though there's more stuff in here. Because they actually admit in this article that it took less work to get this done because they already had the existing framework, the assets, the ideas of where this world was going to go, the character designs and stuff like that. So it's like you're starting from a elevated platform in terms of you've already got all this shit done.
Right.
And so I think that with those things considered, I hope that they just keep it at $30 and make it like more worth $30 than the first one.
Yeah, I mean when they're saying we made this game much longer, like I mean I can't imagine it being longer than like 6.5 hours. Like start getting like 7-8 hours. Like we're talking like real full length epic adventures here, and I don't know. I just don't see that happening with Moss Book 2.
Yeah, some people in chat are saying, "Oh, I didn't even notice the DLC. Where is it? Do you have to find it?"
No.
If you run into a big frog, a big toad, you found it. That's where you need to be.
Yeah.
Keep an eye out for the big frog.
It's a good answer.
And there's like some circles on the wall and stuff, I think. Like open a portal. That's where it is.
Yeah, I remember lots of purple portals. Yeah, so I mean, so I don't expect it to be crazy long, but at the other side of the spectrum here, playing devil's advocate, I guess I'd have to look at this and say, Polyarc said that initially when they made Moss Book 1, their team was 15 people, and that includes people who weren't working on the game at all, like HR and like all this like PR stuff, and a lot of those 15 people were only working part-time or not on Moss at all. So like Moss Book 1 was made by a very, very small group of people, and now they've doubled the size of the team, and a lot more of those people on the team now are working full-time on the project. So we are talking about like having to pay twice as many people, probably more than twice as much money, right?
I guess that makes sense. Yeah. But I mean, that said, though, like those people are still doing less of the legwork. They don't have as much ground to cover as the first team did. And so, like, maybe it's easier for those 15 people to get more stuff done more quickly. And, maybe they have contractors and stuff. I don't know. I am thinking this is going to be probably in the 30 to 35 price range, though. Hopefully.
Yeah, I could definitely see it being 30 again, and probably, and I can only imagine that when this game comes out, we'll see Moss Book 1 get like a permanent price drop down to like $20, right?
I wonder if they'll do like a package deal too, like if you haven't played the first one, Book 1 and Book 2 together as a thing, a bundle or whatever. That seems like it would make sense.
Definitely makes sense. Yeah, I would hope that to promote the second game like a month before this one comes out, they would drop the price of the first one to like $20. Maybe put it even on sale further than that to like get more people in the door and more excited for Book 2.
Yeah,
hopefully we'll see some promotional stuff.
A demo would be awesome too. I'd love to see a demo.
Yeah, we don't see nearly enough demos on PSVR.
Yeah,
and every time we see one, people get really excited. They're like, oh, I had no interest in Frax before. Now that I've played it, I'm really, really excited about it. Although we were talking to a PSVR developer recently who said that demos actually don't help sales. In fact,
really,
people jump in and it's they're no longer excited about the final product because they've gotten a taste of it and they've been like, okay, I know what this feels like and plays. Now I'm not excited about the final product because it won't be brand new to me anymore. And so they actually see a correlation.
Are those the people who made the Fract demo? Because the Fract demo made everyone excited. I don't know anybody who was like, I played that. I'm not too excited about that one anymore. Like,
yeah, I don't.
Everybody just wants more. I feel like.
I don't know if he would like his name being smeared across GamesCast Live. So okay. let's keep everybody's.
I'm not asking who it is specifically.
Yeah, I know. It did not make the Frac demo. That is 100% for sure.
Excellent.
Yeah. I mean, although we'll say that. I mean, I've seen a surprising number of comments from a lot of the cats out there saying, like, oh, this feels really shallow. It doesn't seem like there's a lot to do here in the Frac demo. So, yeah. So I don't know.
Well, it's a demo. It is a demo. Remember, guys. There's not much to do in this 15-minute demo or 20-minute demo.
Right.
Well, that's because that's what it is.
Yeah, man, and we're so close. We're just over 2 weeks out from Fract. It's coming out on the 17th if you get the deluxe edition. And holy shit, guys! Like, I'm super excited. There was a long stretch of time recently where I was playing tons of PSVR games, but I wasn't super interested in what I was playing. I was just doing it for review for the channel, and now we're getting to the time where like I'm excited. Like, I'm legitimately excited. Like, if I didn't run a PSVR channel, I'd still be buying these PSVR games and going,
oh yeah,
here we go. Totally. Let's do this. Yeah. MRI in the chat says, I know who it is and can be Brad. Nice. Excellent. All right, man. Well, listen, so, if you saw the thumbnail, we're not only talking about Moss today. We're not only talking about little Quill, little adorable Quill.
Multiple mascots in one show.
Yeah.
How can we fit this many mascots in one 1 hour show?
I don't know, man. I don't know. But we did see an article talking about, here, you know what? Can you introduce this while I bring a trailer up?
Absolutely. So there was some talk about Japan Team Asobi. I guess they're known now, who are the developers, of course, of Astrobot and Astro's Playroom. They have hinted at plans for their most ambitious game yet on their new website that they just launched. And there are a bunch of job listings out there that kind of shed some light on what they're trying to do. And towards the end of this, there's some speculation in the article that it could be a PSVR2 game. I mean, that would make a lot of sense. Obviously, we know them for PSVR initially, but I don't see like any specifics in their statement that say like, we're doing a PSVR2 game. So it is a little bit of just like analysis here from the Tech Radar author. But of course, we would speculate the same thing. I mean, I think, right? Like,
it'd be hard not to speculate the same thing. So far, what Team Asobi has done is these kind of smaller things uh, for for hardware launches, right? But then also, their big game was Astrobot Rescue Mission. And so if somebody says to me, well, they're gearing up for their biggest game yet, or their biggest project yet, say, well, absolutely, it would have to be another full-fledged game. It'd have to be something, and I just don't see them, especially when we see Sony gearing up for PlayStation VR2, and wondering, like, really what's gonna propel them to the next level, right? You don't take your team that made, like, basically the mascot for your first headset and say, yeah,
Yes.
go do this flat screen thing over here.
Well, no, but here's the thing. He's not even just the mascot for the first headset. If you have a PS5, he's the mascot for fucking Sony top to bottom.
Yeah.
He is the conduit through which you experience all this Sony nostalgia. You go find a PS1 and pick it up and stuff, like, but it's all through the lens of Astrobot, right? Like,
Right.
so I think Sony is really gunning on him being the mascot, like not just VR, but like the mascot of PlayStation going forward, for now at least. That's how it feels.
100%, and I really hope that they don't do anything stupid. Like, I mean, like Crash Bandicoot was a great mascot for PlayStation 1.
Oh yeah,
right.
yeah.
And then Crash is just everywhere. Like, once PS2 generation rolled around, it was on Xbox and GameCube and just everywhere. And I know that Naughty Dog wasn't, like, owned by Sony or anything like that. So, like, I understand, like, why it all happened. But but still, it's like, these kind of things are special. And then I felt like Crash got way less special. I mean, firstly, when it wasn't made by Naughty Dog anymore, right? So hopefully Team Asobi holds on to this IP and doesn't, like, farm it out to some other studio later down the road. But also hopefully it stays on PlayStation, because I do feel like this is something really special that we have.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
And there was
The other thing is, like, if they're working on a game and it is PSVR2 supported, I can't imagine it would also be flat, just because Astrobot relied so much on the spatial interaction, like looking around the stage, gauging the depth of stuff by, peering your head over a cliff before you jumped. And I feel like those little interactions too, like where you get seaweed on your head and you got a little seaweed hair in your face,
so
and you
good.
shake it out of the way. Like that's just really not possible on a flat screen, and I don't think that they would bother watering it down. So if it is a PSVR game, I feel like it's just a full-on fucking PSVR game. I don't think they're going to bother with flat stuff and splitting that into, like, two versions of the game.
I agree, and it would be nice for Asobi to continue. If there's more peripherals released down the line, or maybe they could certainly make, like, a full-fledged flat screen game. But yeah, I would really like to see this remain VR exclusive, this specific project. And if anybody out there is, like, saying, oh, why don't you want, like, Team Asobi to go stretch their legs and make something bigger and better and different than Astrobot, there was something listed here in the job listing. They're looking for an animator who can, quote, animate a wide range of cartoony and mechanical characters, props, and vehicles used in game. Now, that screams Astrobot to me, but on top of that, it also opens up a whole wide spectrum of questions that I have. First being, what do we want to see in Astrobot 2? I mean, vehicles? I don't remember vehicles being... Right?
I mean, there's a minecart level, because you got to have a minecart level.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, vehicles sound like a fun little twist. I mean, you always have to iterate with games like this. Like Super Mario, they always add some new power-up or something to make it exciting, right? Like, oh, you can get in a cat suit now. That's the new Mario thing. You climb up the walls and do backflips and stuff. And so, like,
Adorable.
I got to assume Astrobot 2 is going to have similar mechanics, but just add a ton of shit on top of it and keep it exciting and fresh.
I want Astro to have a cat suit. I mean, how...
Yeah, that'd be great.
Right? Talk about
Or
perfect
he can
branding.
ride a cat. Ride a little cat around.
Ride a
I feel
cat.
like he's small enough to ride a cat. What is the scale of Astro? How big is the guy?
Dude, when I was
I
doing
never
the
thought about
thumbnail...
this in my head. Like, how big is he? Is he like...
Yeah.
I guess he fits in your controller, right? Or a bunch of his friends all fit in there, so he must be
He's,
pretty
like,
fucking
this
small.
big.
He's like tiny. He could ride a
Right.
cat.
He
They
could
could all
definitely
ride a cat. Probably.
The whole 100 of them all riding a cat. Oh man, if they ride a cat, I hope it's Tornado. I really hope they model Tornado and get her in the game.
They should have a Stray tie-in where you can ride on the cat from Stray.
It is so funny though that you say that, because when I was doing the thumbnail, I was actually I had Quill and Astrobot side by side, and I was like, do I need to, like, fuck with the scale here? Like, do I need
one of
to
them?
shrink
Yeah.
Astro way down? Because I mean, Astro is probably half the size of Quill. If we're
I mean,
talking
how
about it
many
this way.
mice could you fit in a DualShock 4? Probably not very many. Like
Couple.
one couple?
I mean,
A
small little
few?
lab mice, right?
Like
They're really
yeah, or
small.
like feeder mice like that you give to like snakes and stuff. Maybe yeah, like the little teensy ones, but
Yeah.
not that many.
This is what happens when AJ's not here. Yeah, man. But I'll tell you, and I know that this is something. I've got two things that I didn't really like about Astrobot One. They weren't, they didn't make me dislike the game, but they left me wanting something a little bit different than what was delivered. And the first thing was that you ran forward, but you could never run backwards. Like you'd have to literally turn your head around and run backwards, and then the camera wouldn't move. You'd have to like just run way off into the distance and hope that like you could still see Astro and like do his thing. And so I would like it to have a little bit more freedom. I know that they did this because of motion sickness, and just be like, just do it on a path and do it on a track, and don't worry about anything else. I would like, but not to bring Mervils into the conversation, which can't hold a candle to Astrobot, but Mervils allowed you to run around in these full 3D environments freely. It felt way more like a Rare game on the N64, and I would like Astro to have a little bit more freedom in the sequel, and allow the camera to have a little bit more freedom too, follow him around. And there are definitely good camera options for people who get sick, like always make it face forward, and or you give somebody control over the camera with the right analog stick like a traditional platformer. And I hope that that's there. I hope that they're blowing this wide open.
That would be nice. I mean, you can think about the shift from like linear Mario games to open worldier Mario games, where it's not like you're just going down this fixed path, but you have an area to go through. Like 64 kind of opened that up, and then Odyssey did the same thing.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's clearly, been done before and could be done again. The only thing with changing the camera angles and stuff, I do feel like that kind of removes a little bit of their ability to set up those cool moments where like you need the camera facing this way for something to happen the way it does
Right.
to you, as the first person guy, the robot up there in the thing. So I don't know.
Do you
I'm
think
not
there
sure
could be
if the
different
freedom
levels, like different, like, hey, here's like an open world level, and then hey, here's
Oh,
one
yeah.
you're going through a cavern, and like you're just kind of doing the old classic Astro thing.
Yeah. Well, and there was some stuff too that wasn't like super duper linear. Like the underwater level, I remember it wasn't just like a straight path. You could kind of swim around and do stuff, and like
Yeah.
so stuff that's more like that. That's like still straightforward but open, and you have some agency in terms of where you want to go and all that.
Yeah. The other thing, and I know again, like, and the first thing I complained about, the whole like wishing you could have a little more freedom. I know that I got a lot of pushback on that when I first complained about it. People are like, no, this is like what makes the game special. This is how they designed it. This is, good game design, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, so there are people who definitely like the way the first game was made. And so if they stick with that, I'll understand. Like that's
Yeah.
something that people really enjoyed.
It
The
also forces replays, because if you can't turn back and find the stuff you didn't get, you got to replay the level again. And I was always in that situation. If I had missed a bot,
Right.
I couldn't just turn around and go find him. I'd have to replay from the beginning, which
hope
I
they-
think maybe is built. That might be baked in. Like that might be a design choice to make people replay stuff.
Yeah.
Honestly, like
I hope they keep the whole exploration thing where you have to go, like, because I mean, exploring every corner of every level, finding collectibles, being the other bots, like that was, and they were always doing the cutest things, right? Like they were just like hanging around, or like especially in the playroom, they were like just goofing off and stuff, right? Like
yeah, just like reclining on the beach.
yeah.
playing
Like,
with
I
the
hope
beach
they
ball.
keep all that in for the sequel, because
Oh
that
yeah,
was
for sure.
so
I
endearing.
mean, that's kind of their style. Like that's totally baked into their visual style. So I think it'd be crazy if they didn't have stuff like that.
Yeah.
They definitely.
So this one's going to be this change is going to be a little bit more divisive. I've never said divisive. I've always said divisive. I don't know.
Divisive. Yeah, me too. I don't know.
I don't know.
You're
I
getting
think-
AJ brain when he's not here.
Yeah. Well, we can only be so linear.
We can.
At least we think that's funny. I don't know if anyone else
I do.
does. Yeah. Poor AJ.
Yeah,
It's
people
not-
who remember it.
Right. Poor AJ's not here to defend himself. The items, the tools that you used, you only had one at a time, and so like you got them, and they were specifically used for that level, and then like the next level you'd have a different one. And for me, I was always hoping that I'd have an arsenal of like tools to switch through and go, oh, what's the best way to get through this section of the game? And and it would be nice if there were multiple ways to get through different sections of each level, where you go, oh, this would be great. I can climb if I throw the stars, the ninja stars against the wall and give them platforms to climb on. Or, I got this big bulldozer type thing where I can actually crash down this wall and like let him get through. Or, just like a little bit more variety instead of being like, here's the tool and this is also the solution for this particular level. It's too heavy handed for me. I like a little bit more open endedness.
I'm not sure that that's going to happen. Yeah. I think that that's a little bit outside the scope of what they're trying to do with Astrobot. And I think that they probably have considered stuff like that, but probably decided, okay, let's keep it lean. Let's keep it like this. And the most recent evidence we have is that in Astro's Playroom, the PS5 thing, you get one thing at a time every time. They're all singular mechanics designed to show something off, right?
Right.
And so I think that they're probably going to stick with that. I would assume.
Probably. If not, you guys will see. I'll be like wicked happy. Like that if they announce like, oh, multiple levels, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So,
yeah.
Oh yeah, very excited over here.
Well, then I also have to come back to Mario and say, like, typically you don't combine power-ups, or typically you don't have like multiple options in which power-up. It's like you need the fire thing to get through this area, or you need the cat suit to get through this area, and that's kind of like pretty basic platform, like classic platforming design, where you don't really mix and match a bunch of stuff. I know there are counter examples of games where you do mix and match stuff, but I think the iconic sort of stuff that they're going for, that really sort of like simple, perfect platforming shit, I think they're probably not going to mess too much with that formula. I do wonder though, with the new controllers.
Was it Mario World that gave you the inventory of things to choose from? That wasn't Super Mario 3,
you could switch. You could switch between them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember which one that was.
I think that was World. I think no, because that just had the one icon on the top of the screen, and that was the extent of your inventory. Maybe it was Mario 3. And again, these. Oh, it was Mario 3. That's right. Because I'm just remember anyway. And that's of course why it's one of my favorites, right? Because there's a little bit more open-endedness to it, and you get to have a little bit more creativity with how you get through levels. So yeah, like you said, there's definitely examples and counter examples of this left and right. But that's just, I guess, so as far as preferences go with platformers, I need platformers to evolve just a tiny little bit, because Astrobot was amazing, but I want the sequel to be even more amazing.
Well, the thing that I was about to bring up, and they're talking about in chat as well, is like we're going to have these orbs, which are brand new controllers.
Yeah.
The initial Astrobot was a showcase for what you could do with the DualShock 4 in VR, because it was really cool with the touchpad, like one of the few games to ever really successfully use the touchpad. Right. And just the way that it felt integrated, like there's stuff coming out of my controller, there's guys jumping into my controller, and it all feels right. And they did what they could with that. PS5, obviously, it's a showcase for the controller. We got to assume the same thing for the orbs, right? And you start thinking like, okay, well, what gameplay mechanics can we have now? Like, there won't be touchpads, so that's out of the question. But what are they going to do to play with these new devices and show us like what they're capable of? Because I feel like that's kind of their other, besides being the mascot people, they're sort of the let's show off the controller people also now. Yeah. So I got to assume that will be probably a tie-in at launch, like just to be there to show you what these things can do and how they feel and all that stuff.
So you think they're going to really start pushing the first-person stuff? Because in Astrobot, like I think a lot of people who haven't played it maybe don't realize that you are a character who's following behind Astrobot, and you are a character who, like as you said earlier, ends up with the seaweed on his head, and you have things to do in first person with your DualShock, sending out the ninja stars, or shooting water at flowers, like all of this stuff to do in first person. And so, yeah, I mean, it would be so cool to see what they could do with the orbs to really, really, really push that first person element, because I don't know, I liked that stuff, but I thought the third person platforming was really where that game shined.
For sure, yeah.
So it would be nice to see them like really bring that up to like another level.
Yeah, I mean, once you have the they didn't use movement controllers in the first one, but they're going to be forced to, because every game is going to have to use the orbs, because that's the controller that you have. And so I got to assume that there'll be more interactivity, like you said, like not just sending off a shuriken to do something in a level, but like reaching out and pulling on something, or like throwing physically a shuriken at the thing. Like there's a lot of more interaction you can do when you're not just holding a controller like this. So yeah, I'm sure they'll play with that a lot in the final product.
I think we got some time though. I think we have some time before this comes to light. I would.
Sure.
Would you expect what they're doing to be a launch title, Astro 2?
I think it would make a lot of sense. I think it would be good. They ought to.
Kind of tough get to guess without knowing when PSVR 2 is releasing, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tough. All right, man. Well, that brings us to PSVR 20 questions. Now, usually it's AJ's turn on Mondays, but AJ's not here. I mean, we could still play and just try to guess what he's thinking.
Oh, sure, yeah. AJ, if you're in the chat out there, let us know if you're thinking of something.
How slow would this game go?
We'll do it through the chat.
If we had to ask a question and wait like a minute.
40 seconds, yeah.
Excellent. Dave, do you have a game prepared in AJ's absence?
I should. Hold on. Let me think. I should have one prepared.
Guys, while Dave figures out what his game is, make sure if you haven't played this with us before that you help us out in the chat. I'm going to be the contestant along with all of you guys out there. We're going to put 6 minutes up on the clock, courtesy of whoever
Big block guy, Timertopia.
Wow. See, this just proves you have way more brain cells left than I do. There will be a link in that
description. There's still time,
description.
Brian. There's still time.
Timertopia. So Timertopia, we're going to put a 6 minute clock up, and we have to guess what PSVR game Dave is thinking of with 20 yes or no questions.
I'm going to narrow it down for you right off the bat by I haven't thought of one yet, but I'm going to go to my shelf, and I'm going to look on my shelf and pick a physical copy of the PSVR game that I have. And that's going to be the one that...
Well, this narrows it down considerably.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, well, I got to make it easy when there's just one U instead of two U's.
Oh, man.
Questions.
Nihilus Ryan, the game feline, with a $5 tip in the chat, says Astrobot 2 idea, co-op. Nihilus Ryan, that is a wonderful idea. And actually, if you have an early copy, I think just early copies, I think they did change it, of Astrobot physically, it lists co-op, because that was definitely supposed to be in the game, and then they took it out. They just didn't make that happen. So that was supposed to be in Astrobot 1. I 100% agree with you that it should be in the sequel. I would actually be shocked if it didn't have co-op support. How great would that be? That'd be pretty awesome. Yeah. I wonder how many co-op games like Super Mario Brothers has been pretty much 4 players for a lot of the 2D side-scrolling stuff recently, right? So do you think that they could get 4-player Astrobot going, or just 2 people?
I don't know.
It would be fun.
I mean,
to have
that
4
also
people running around jumping like crazy.
The camera question again too, though, because who's in control of the camera? How is that going to work in VR?
Well, you all have your own camera, right? Because you're all separate. Not couch co-op, right?
Not couch co-op. Couch co-op. Okay, that's different then. Yeah, maybe could work.
Although we don't know how the social screen is going to work with PlayStation VR 2. This is a whole separate conversation. The social screen could definitely be an entirely separate camera for somebody doing couch co-op. Interesting. Thank you, Nihilus Ryan, for that tip. So we're ready? Are we good?
I'm ready to go.
All right, man. I'm going to put 6 minutes up on the clock. Timertopia. You're awesome. I have just no idea how you remembered that. And there it is. 6 minutes. Here we go. Everybody help me out. We already know it's a physical game, guys, so keep that in mind. Dave, you're counting the questions.
I am indeed.
Does it have move support?
No.
Okay.
Oh, wait. No. Shut up. What's wrong with me? Yes, of course it has move support.
Tell me to shut up.
Yes. No, I'm telling myself to shut up. I'm telling myself to shut up. I'm totally wrong. It does have move support.
It has move support.
100,000%. Totally, yes.
Does it also have DualShock 4 support?
That's what I'm looking up right now. So this one, you can pause the timer. Can you pause the timer, actually?
Yeah, I'll figure it out someday. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. AJ's not here. Rules don't matter.
I don't believe you can use the DualShock 4.
All right, so it's definitely a game we associate with the Move controllers.
It says Move controller supported. It doesn't say DualShock is supported. So.
Okay. Let's see. Is this a fantasy game?
No.
Okay, not fantasy. Let's see what the chat is thinking here. Is it a wave shooter?
Wow, that is not one I expected to have a problem with, but I guess you could argue that it is, but let's skip that question. It's not primarily a wave shooter, but there are some elements that you could consider wave shooter.
I'm writing down wave shooter question mark. Is there full locomotion?
No, there's not full locomotion.
Is there locomotion?
Not specifically. No, not really.
Meaning there's no teleportation or anything like that, right?
No, no,
Okay.
you don't. No, you don't.
Okay. So no movement. A little wave shootery possible. Wave shooter elements used to move controllers. Let's see. Scandrel says, does it have zombies?
No zombies.
Okay. Let's see. I don't know, but et.2k.now. Et.2k.now. It doesn't. I don't want to ask the sports question. Does it have a sports theme?
You can wait on that one.
Let's see. Does it have any rhythm elements to it?
Yes, it does have rhythm elements to it.
Wow. Okay. So move supported, rhythm. The things you're firing at, are they people?
No,
So there goes pistol whip.
those are people in Pistol Whip.
I mean, they look like
They-
people.
They are people adjacent, as people in AJ like
People
to say.
adjacent. I mean, they look like people.
Yeah, but they're little glowy red dudes. I mean, like, are the super hot guys people? I guess they're people
Yeah,
technically, but they
Glowy red
Yeah, they-
crystal people.
look like people.
I mean,
Anyways,
for the
we're
sake of
wasting
this
too much
game-
time on this.
Okay,
one. We're
not
wasting too
people.
much time on
Not
this
people.
one. Not people.
Okay. Hunter the Game Cat says, does it have fruit?
Does it have fruit?
It's fruit.
No.
Okay.
No, there's no fruit.
That eliminates Fruit Ninja. We got rid of one. Okay, well, I'm just going to start asking very specific questions here from the chat.
Okay.
Philip says, I'm going to ask about Gun Club. Does it have cardboard cutouts as targets?
No.
Okay.
Although, if it's a cardboard cutout of a man, is that a man? That's what I'm asking. He's
I-
people adjacent. He's not a real man,
I would say no.
but he's no. Okay.
Very, very, The soundtrack, does it have artists we'd recognize?
No, not really. No, it doesn't.
Okay. Would it be considered a workout game by any stretch of the imagination?
No, I don't think you would work out to this.
Okay. Okay, so we're definitely eliminating things like Beat Saber and Synth Riders because that definitely has music we'd recognize from artists we'd recognize. And workout, that means like no O shape. So what's rhythm, but not workout? And could maybe be considered something like wave shootery potential elements.
I mean, you've basically described the game I'm thinking of very specifically there, and it'll crystallize in your brain at some
Yeah.
point. You'll be like, aha!
Nick,
Yes,
Nick
this is
also makes a very good point. It has to have a physical copy because
Yes.
that's how we started this. And Audica
Yeah.
doesn't have a physical copy, as far as I know. If it does, then I totally blew this. Tetris Effect is a very good choice, Gamer Chick. Does this game involve falling blocks?
No,
Okay.
and also we already established that it is not DualShock supported. It is move supported, so you
good.
just shot yourself in the foot with that one.
It did shoot myself in the foot. And I only have 49 seconds left.
Oh boy.
So Justin
so
Cassidy, we
close.
eliminated Pistol Whip, unfortunately. Beat Blaster, huh? Beat Blaster definitely has full locomotion. Starship Disco doesn't have music we'd recognize. Has this developer made any other PSVR games?
Don't ask me that with 30 seconds left. Hold
Oh.
on. Pause it.
Don't worry, we'll get to see it blow up, but we won't take it seriously.
Okay.
Super hot.
As far as I know, they haven't made other VR games, but let me double check.
Come on, guys. Rhythm games that you don't work out to.
This developer has not made any other games for PSVR.
Okay. How many questions do we have left?
You're about to be on 15.
Okay. My head
And I
is
think I
going.
might have forgot to count one, so but I'll give it.
My head is going towards Philip's suggestion. I actually scrolled, not scrolled because that's not allowed, but I looked up.
Hey, that's not
I know.
allowed.
My hands have been up. My hands have been up. I swear. Philip says Res Infinite, and I really think that he's on the right track here. So, did this game come to multiple other consoles before PSVR?
No, it didn't.
So Res Infinite is out. Old Darth is saying Thumper. So let's ask, does this have a non-VR version on PlayStation 4?
No.
Okay, Thumper's out. Guys, we're running out. Oh. Kramer, I think Kramer got it. Does this game involve chewing at space aliens?
Oh, after the timer's done, you've got it. Yes, it does involve chewing.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Kramer was 2K, 5K? I always get it wrong. Kramer 3K, the non-VR game cat with Space Channel 5. Is it Space Channel 5?
It is Space Channel 5.
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
funky newsflash VR.
That's right.
It's funny.
Which
GameCat
technically
Mob
came to other
asked-
consoles before.
Did it?
Well, I mean, it's sort of a remake, right, of Dreamcast?
No, but no,
it's
kind of
different.
funky newsflash VR is its
a
own
different game.
separate thing. It's a different game.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I like in the chat, GameCat Mob Task Force Protect Dave at all costs. That's hard to read all at once.
Sure.
They said Space Dance Game. They knew the game, but they just
Nailed
couldn't
it.
think of it. Space Dance Game.
Nailed it.
You know, that one.
Hell yeah. Yeah, so that was 100% all the cats out there. I wasn't going to get that one on my own. I don't think I was going to get that one on my own.
And the timer doesn't matter, guys, as you can tell, because he lost, but he won.
Yeah, there were 2 times we were supposed to pause it. So I wish I knew if we made it in under the wire, but I don't think we would have. So Space Channel 5, kind of funky news flash. And you have the limited run version? Is that the one you got off the wall?
I do. Yeah.
Nice. Excellent. All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for hanging out for another episode of PSVR Gamescast Live. Hopefully AJ will be back next episode, assuming, of course, that we don't talk about Moss at all, because that's that's in his contract. He's like, I'm not fucking showing up if you guys are going to talk about Moss. I don't know why, but some of us like good games and some of us don't.
He also needs
so gonna
a
kill
bowl of just brown M&Ms before he gets on the show. There can't be any other colors in there. It just all has to be brown M&Ms.
Yeah, his green room
He's
is
very
very
specific.
complicated demands.
Very specific.
Right. Okay, so we want to give a shout out to Miles Dyer, who runs our Instagram account. We also want to give a shout out to SciFiGamecatHenry, who does all the timestamps for this show hours after it happens, and we thank you very much for that. Also, Jay Meow, who's getting our website up and running and getting us on Spotify and other streaming services. So make sure if you want to listen to this show instead of watch it live, you can always go check it out on Spotify. Also, I know I'm going to forget people. We want to shout out Donnie for the question of the day on Discord. We want to shout out all the mods who keep this channel running and Discord running smoothly. We really, really appreciate you guys. And if I forgot to give you a shout out, just trust me that I love you very, very much. We also love AJ very much, and he's a trooper for putting up with all the shit that we say about him while he's not here. You guys know that none of it's true. He likes good games, and he loves Moss. If you don't already, make sure you subscribe to Dave over at Dave Station VR. Subscribe to AJ over at PSVR Underground. My name is Brian Paul from this channel right here, PSVR Without Parole. And I think it's time.
Are we going to cue the cat?
Oh, yeah. I mean...
Are we going to without AJ? Let's do it. Let's try it.
Do you want to do
We're
it?
so bad at it.
Do you want to do it? Do you want me to do it?
I'll do it.
All right.
I'm bad, but I'll try it.
All right, good luck.
I'm not going to try what he does. I'm going to do something different this time.
We're cueing the cat.
Cue the cat, because I'd like to say hello out there to Proud Dog, Justin Cassidy,
making me uncomfortable.
Miles Dyer. Ooh, Emily Baxter, hashtag the game getting Old Darth.
yeah.
Looking sexy out there tonight. Flame Hat the Game Cat. GC13 the Diet Pepsi Cat. Her drink of choice is Diet Pepsi. Daniel Williams, the PSVR Underground Cat. Gabriel 004, the licensed Meow Game Cat. Meow meow meow. Meow 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 meow. Billy Goat Catfish, Dyson Fistball to you, Mark Pringles Leaf, Blue Chew the Underground Game Cat, Donatello Dream, PSVR2 Game Cat. Yeah, keep on dreaming, buddy. It's coming. That Game Cat in the chat. Delirium Drew. Oh, Dan Peeper. Nick Milo. I don't know how much longer I can do.
Don't worry. I'll let you know when you can stop.
Space Denizen. Ooh, Kramer 3K, the non-VR Game Cat. et.2k9.now. et.2k9. et.2k.9.now. Oh, yeah. Steve IRE, baby. Coming in hot. Let's see what else we got. Berber Cat. Tell me when I can stop, please.
Like 3 more seconds. 3 more seconds. Come on.
Oh, God. Okay. I'm repeating names. Dan Kiefer, Miles Dyer. Berber Cat, Dan Kiefer, Miles Dyer.
Hey, you don't have to
Anakin, nobody asked for this, Dave. Shake my hand. Yeah, nobody asked for any of this shit.
Guys, thank you
If
very
AJ was here, it wouldn't have been a problem.
Yeah, no, poor AJ has to do this. Hey, AJ's actually here, so he's actually doing it right now in the chat. Rubbercat, Donatello, Miles Dyer, Anakin. He's doing it. He's actually doing it live in the chat. Guys, thank you so much again for hanging out. Hopefully we'll see you over on Discord. Click the link in the description below, and we'll see you over there. Come join us for Box VR. Come join us for some Sunday multiplayer meetups, and of course, come check out Donnie's question of the day and join our daily conversations. That's my last plug for Discord, maybe ever.
Yeah. No, not ever.
Yep. No. We'll do it again Wednesday. All right, guys. We love you. Have a great night.